Hi everybody, welcome to my channel for the third battle report of the tournament La Dame du Lac. We were facing the Italian team named QTL, team from Milano. Always a pleasure to face them. We played against them already at Bellum Lacum, the tournament I played in France at the beginning of the year. It's always competitive but very also friendly round against them, so I was eager to face them again, and I know that would be a challenge for us. That was definitely one of the team we had an eye on during the tournament, so I knew that it's likely that we are going to face them at some point. Pairing process. So this time we went with a different strategy because we had not a good metrics. We were playing basically capture the flags, and a lot of our lists weren't that good on capture the flag. For example, my line on capture the flag wasn't that good against them, with a lot of neutral matchups. We decided this time to throw Max and to keep Louis in hand. Basically the idea, if you look at both matrix, they complement each other quite good, and yeah, we felt that was going to be a good combination, so we throw Max. They answer with Dwarvenhold and ID, so the choice was easy. Max was going to take Dwarvenhold, and then Louis took ID that he rated as a green. And then we went, I think they threw the Ogre Cant, we went with me and Jan as an answer, and they picked Jan for the Ogre Can and me for the VC, which makes sense according to our matrix basically. So pairing not bad, but quite neutral, as you can see, with one negative matchup was positive matchup and two drawish matchup. Thanks to the experience that we had the previous day, we know that if we were the word was always going to be the same for me. I know that in team tournament discipline is key. If you're able to be very solid, to try to play for small win, to be foremost to be in control of the game. I think it's not play for small win, it's more be in control of the game, be in control of the path of the game, be in control of the type of variance that you are going to accept and the risk that you are going to take. So that was going to be my main word for each round. I know that we don't need much to cap, it's only 50, so there is no need to take huge risk, and basically I knew that since we were first of the table, the time was always going to play in our favor, in my opinion. So I knew that even if we are kind of drawish, it wasn't going to be a big problem if we draw the round. But for them, if they wanted to go above us, they needed to do something. So I wanted also to play on that small advantage, and basically to kind of play tight on all table. And if we were going to be drawish in this round, that wouldn't be a big problem for us looking towards the next round. But if we were going to lose big on this round, basically we would have very small chances of winning the whole tournament, while having a drawish result would still mean we would be a comfortable position and in the position to have our own destiny in our hands, basically. My list, you know it already. This was my opponent's list. So he has only two mages, a big mage, occultist master, arcane knowledge on a zombie dragon, which is not something you see a lot. Curse medallion to give him reroll to hit wounds against one model in the opponent's army to make him good in challenges. He has an adept evocation with magical illum, meaning he has only two ways of healing his army, which is not much. 4 scoring unique in core, so 4 blocks, 3 times zombie, 1 time skeleton with a relentless banner, 2 piece of chaff, 8 gas to have a solid infantry unit non-scoring in the battle line, and then 4 single models, so double altar that I already played against, so I knew more or less altar. It's either you can kill them from distance or you engage quickly in close combat, but basically what you want to avoid is be stuck in combat in the late stage of the game and then receive multiple turn of altar automatic hits. 1 dark coach, shrieking aura. So I think this allows also sometimes to have like shrieking aura on the other flank with dark coach to still be able to march, or at some point to move the 2 flying guys alone and then still have the dark coach to allow the rest of the army to march. Some possibilities, but basically this list, I rated it as a yellow because also if you check, basically he isn't so strong in combat. My shooting is problematic for him, but yeah, let's talk about the matchup analysis a bit later. We played cap to the flags, and Bad news, we played Dawn Assault. Bad news for what? For the action in the game, because you know already that my aggression potential is quite limited sometimes on Capture the Flag. Due to the previous experience that I made in tournaments, I know that I have less chaff at my disposal, so less ways to be aggressive and open the game, basically. And if you add that to Dawn Assault that encourage even more sometimes standoff, it could make harder to really open the game and have an open game with a lot of combat. So yeah, well, wasn't the best combination to play an open game. You have both spell selection, so he has plenty of buffs, a couple of heals, very good range damage, so very strong magical setup. But that's what you can expect from having a lot of points invested in Magic. Matchup analysis. So like I was going to say, my range damage is a big threat for his general. So I thought that that's an important part of the matchup, but I need to avoid him being able to cast spell at me or be in a position to charge me without me being able to threaten him with shots. So that was going to be key in the matchup. Altar, I know the deal. I play and suffer against them one time when I didn't know exactly what they do. So I know I need to be aware, and if I engage, I need to be sure I can go through or kill them from distance, basically. Secondary, like I said, limit a bit my ability to chaff to engage CC. Shrieking Roar, Dragon, basically key. Yeah, what are the main target for them? My single pieces, I need to be aware what he likes to do with this type of pieces. I have enough experience against my friend Lichmeister who plays VC, but basically when he can, with Shrieking Arrow especially, when he can like chaff you, push forward, scream, and then move again without being, basically if he can scream or cast spell without being charged in return, then you're in big trouble. And basically I know what I need to be careful about. Estimation was going to be drawish, aka standoff-ish. So what happened in deployment stage? He won the roll for side, give me bottom, and basically I couldn't deploy in this part of the map. Second issue being 18 inch goes up to here, and here an impassable, so it's more or less a 22-23 inches part of the map where I cannot deploy anything properly. So I felt, okay, this is this is not going to be easy to really engage in something. And then also if I check a bit the map, you know what he might do. I mean, for him, I've played enough myself, a Great Bull of Shamut with ID to know what type of game you like to play in this type of matchup. Huge threat, Merc Vets for him. Key element to help him in this type of duel, impassable train in this map. So basically I knew already that he was going to be very likely to be able to play around this. And what's the ideal case that he will be willing to have to create in this game? Basically it's be behind impassable, therefore be not shootable or not visible from my shooting, and at the same time be able to threaten me with range damage, with occultism, and at some point have a small line of sight and then be able to charge me, and me not being able to shoot, then I could be in big trouble in combat. So I knew already that if he's able to get 18 inch range from here behind and be able to cast Grave Call, for example, if I deploy here closer to the impassable, I could be in big trouble, because then he can fly around, go out, even charge from behind, or at some point go out. I wouldn't be in big trouble. So I was aware that I needed to be very careful, because I knew already his game plan would be to move here behind and then try ideally to charge from behind, would be the ideal case for him. So I didn't want to leave him that. I wanted to make sure that if he wants to engage, I want him at least one turn in the open train in some good ranges that I can do enough damage, and then stand and shoot and again do a lot of damage, and basically make it impossible for him to come. So deployment, I let him start to deploy. Why? No big interest in starting. I know where he was going to be, but I know also that I will be wanting to... It is going to be standoffish if you look at the map, if you anticipate what he might do, which I did. And I knew that finishing the game could be cool, because then 5th turn you can take slightly more risk to be in a position to turn 6, take risk with long charges and stuff like that, that if they go through, they could open a bit the score upwards without any risk in return. So I knew that I was going to like that. So I let him start to deploy. We exchanged a couple of drops, and at some point decided to drop for first turn since I have so many free drops. So he decided to drop. He put all 4 scoring on capture the flag behind, which makes sense. Then he puts everything on the starting line to like false aggression deployment. So you have both altar, you have the ghast, you have the zombie dragon, chaff, shrieking horror on the far right. So yeah, I knew already that he's able to fly here behind, be in a zone where I cannot shoot him turn 1. And then he put the Dark Coach on the left. So like I said, yeah, I took time to measure what he might do. There was going to be no way I would leave him take advantage from the impassable and blast me, even if that means that it limits also my ability to really open more the game and engage. But I knew already that I wasn't going to let him have such an advantage. And basically deploying compact around the impassable, try to move around when not starting, or even when starting, I don't think that's a good option. I would be too much trouble to move around the impassable and then let him make move and stuff. Since he has so many chaff ability, then he could just chaff me, move around. That would be an impossible game to play. So I think that was the right approach. So I just went opposite corner, my 2 single model far away from his main threats for them. Then I put Tusker, Death Star, Tribesman Star with the mage, Great Khan, BSB, Merc-Vets, my scoring darts in the back, and my chaff piece here was one of the first drops. But basically nothing on the weak flank. I don't want him to be able to cast any spell or get any free point in this game. His first turn, so he moved around but not so aggressively. More or less what I expected. So he moved to the side, make sure I cannot shoot him first turn, moves a bit the chaff forward, and he decided to sacrifice the first piece of chaff to basically block me on the starting line and avoid that I would be doing 12 forward, 14 forward and be very aggro, and then basically claim a lot of board space and put some pressure to this flank before he can move around. So I can see why he did that, even if he's not able really to take advantage from the sacrificed chaff, which is something that usually you don't like to do. But in this case, I think the whole idea was to slow me down, basically. A Magic Phase, he was able to get a raise in aura, so he buffs all his scoring units to a couple of ranks more. My turn 1, I charge a chaff, turn around the Merc-Vets to shoot at the second piece of chaff. I will be looking forward to deal with the chaff as soon as possible, because first of all, it's a couple of points, so it could mean, going 11 or 12 points, so be ahead. And then second of all, it limits his ability to then chaff and push me at some points. I use this giant as a bait, so one of the key debates that I had in my head during this game was whether or not I would give a charge range Dark Coach against Tusker. On paper, in most cases, I wouldn't mind Chariot Dark Coach charging the Tusker, because I think I should be fine in most of the cases. But here I didn't like at all to risk it. I don't know exactly what are the percentage of him killing 2 Tuskers and running me down, but it's capture the flag. So even if it's a small percentage, I don't like the idea of him being able to sacrifice a 400 point model in exchange for something that is worth scenario plus 600. I thought that was too much of a risk. So I decided instead to bait him with the giant, to basically give him a front, no overrun, and if he charged me, I can still countercharge him later. So I would be happy with that. Other than that, yeah, that's all. The rest just moves slightly in the back. My Magic Phase, I got Smite the Unbeliever on the Chariot, just to make sure that he wouldn't be willing to charge me. I think I maybe even got Hereditary as well. He Dispel Wrath of God. With shooting, I kill like 4 dogs. And then close combat, I clean those dogs and just pivot. That's it. His turn 2. Didn't do much, moved backwards with the Chariot, decided not to charge, not to take the bait, move his flying count behind the impassable. Kept the Shrieking Horror quite far away to make sure that even if I move 6, I have no range, no shooting range. Other than that, but I didn't mind too much since I had other target in range for me, so that was always going to be okay. He moved slightly forward with the gas, trying to protect the line, and the rest is, as you can see, he has a lot of model in the units, so that was always going to be very difficult for me to go through. Magic Phase, he did Pentagram on my giant, but did no wounds. Then Mark for Doom kill one of my Merc-Vets. Let's move on to my turn 2. moving forwards, as you can see. So I move quite a bit forward, like March 12 with them, almost a lot. I just give him like 11 or 12 charge quite far away. I took the giant moving to the side. Since he had 2 chariot, I didn't like too much the idea of being charged by the altar and then still him having the counter charge with the coach. So I decided to move to the flank and take my time to move with the giants in his flank to threaten him, force him to look up, and maybe have opportunity to push more back. Yeah, I still kept a fair distance between my single model here, the first mammoth, and his guy, just making sure that even if he moves, fly a lot, he's still out of range of Grave Call. So even if he go out of my line of sight, I wanted to make sure there is no good opportunity for him, and then I can turn around, shoot him, basically. The wolf, yeah, I forgot to mention, he moves his wolf here all the way back to protect them. My magic phase, I got Hand of Heaven and did a good total of 4 wounds to this altar, so 1 wound left, and then with shooting I did the last wound, which was nice because it's 340 points, 1 altar left less in the game, so I was quite happy with that, a bit lucky for me. His turn, he moved the count to here, which surprised me a bit. So he gets 18-inch range, but in exchange for that, I get shooting phase on him without cover. So I felt that was going to be interesting for me. Move back Dark Coach to make sure that if I want to move out of arc, then basically I move all the way to the side. And the rest, yeah, he kept the shrieking a bit in the back at the moment to avoid my shooting still. His magic phase, I dispel Grave Call, but he got creation of a new unit here in the middle. I think here I could have potentially used my binding scroll on Grave Call just to tell him, yeah, you went into a risky position to get Grave Call off. I'm binding it, and then I can dispel the chaff, and then basically I get not annoyed by a piece of chaff in the middle of the board, while the other piece of chaff are just out of the game or already killed. As you can see, second unit of wolves move in the ruin, but he didn't place them correctly. It's the front that matters, and they're still outside. Wasn't so easy to move here in between, so that's going to be an opportunity for me to try to kill them. So I felt, yeah, still have a good opportunity to shoot these guys, which also matters in my decision making process, but I think at this point of time I could anticipate. I still wanted to keep the binding in case I'm able to engage, but I think that was so standoff-ish that I could have potentially used it to get the opportunity to move forward a bit and then have a first shooting phase at his zombie dragon, potentially doing a couple of wounds, putting him under pressure to move back. But then still, yeah, I think he has enough option to move all the way back to heal him and making it impossible for me to shoot him down. So I don't think that was so huge, but that small detail that could have potentially matters. My turn 3, didn't push that much, still kept fair distance for him, didn't want to give any charges for the ghast against my tribesman unit. Despite the fact that I have so much model, I felt if he charged me, there is a good chance that with a couple of buffs he can kill at least 4 tribesmen, and there is it's likely that I couldn't kill 2 of them, meaning I wouldn't be steadfast, he could run me down, so I didn't felt it worth the risk to really move forward. Also, since I was in control of the points taken from distance until now. My magic phase, yeah, what did I do here? I move out of line of sight, like I told you. The rest remained quite compact. My magic phase, I got Hand of Heaven, killed 2 dogs. There was 1 left, and then I just finish him with my shooting from the Mervets. 1 guy left, but yeah, I wanted to get those points and to move to the 12-8 point range. And other than that, nothing significant. He's turn 4, yeah, he uses his piece of chaff, so I knew he couldn't chaff them, but still can chaff the Mervrats, which is a bit annoying, but nothing I can do. He decided to back off with his flying dragon to not get shot by the Mercs, put his guys behind impassable. The rest remain quite compact, move back with the Dark Coach to cover my ability to move to the angle. Magic phase, I did a pentagram that did nothing, and that was it, more or less. Not a lot to do because he was so far away from me, and with occultism when you're far away it's a problem. My turn, yeah, I decided to charge a chaff because I wanted to get rid of it, and since he's far away from me there is no bad consequences for me to taking it other than losing a shooting phase, which is always going to be annoying, but I didn't want him next turn to march and chaff these 2 units. That then could be very annoying for me, so I decided to get rid of it while I could, and I had no other unit that could charge it while the Mervets could shoot, so yeah, it's annoying, but that's how it is. The rest remain quite compact. I did End of Heaven on an altar, but did nothing close combat. I killed all of them and just post combat pivot. He's turn 5. Didn't do all. Yeah, just remain compact and still far away from me. Started, I think, to move slightly backwards. Yeah, didn't move much actually. Just put the altar behind to get some soft cover. In the magic phase, I dispel Mark for Doom on the Tusker. He got 1 wound with Pentagram on the Tusker. And then it's already my turn, so now I decided to push a bit more. Leave him with a very long charge because he's on the hill, so I didn't want to get him an easy combo charge, so I gave him a long charge here, a long charge for the altar, doable charge for them. I was within aura, so I didn't mind him charging me with his cast, basically, but I wanted to be sure that on my turn 6 I could try a long charge, basically. Magic, I got Hereditary off on the Mervet just in case. Shooting, I did 1 wound to the altar, that's it. Yeah, I think I got maybe Wrath of God off. I don't know. I don't know if I got one, but anyway, it didn't matter much. His turn, he just moved back and hide the most he could. Magic, what did he got? Reroll to hit on the gas just in case. And my turn, I had an 11 charge to get him, or the other alternative was to move 6 forward and do shooting magic phase on the altar with 4 wound remaining. I figure out my chances are, yeah, it's more likely to kill him with range damage than doing an 11 on 2 dice, so I decided to go for that, just move forward, shoot at him, but I did only like 1-2 wounds, nothing more. I didn't get any more points, so that was it. I got 2 dogs, 1 altar, it's a 12-8. Post-game analysis very quickly. I think my map analysis was good. I anticipate his option to advance and be aggressive safely. It was going to be very more risky for him to go towards me in the middle of the map with no impassable. I knew that he wouldn't risk that because it can go very bad for him. So I think it made sense that he didn't want to try that. Yeah, Donaso flags, I think that's the worst combination to make, yeah, it's inevitable that the standoff happen in this game, I think. You can always debate, some player would argue that advancing Tusker against the coach, you can cast a buff and it's not going to be too bad, especially until you have still a Binding Scroll in the pocket. Maybe that's right. I decided to play as little risk as possible on this game. I was in control of little points. I was going to be okay with a 12 on this one, so I didn't feel it was worth it to try it. Obviously, in a lot of the cases, by doing that, I wouldn't lose my Tusker and get a coach in return, but I don't think it's worth it if you consider all elements of this game. Obviously, if it's not flags, then I would take the risk any day. Yeah, and confirm that my list is able to get in against most lists to get 1-2 more points from distance thanks to the range damage that I propose. What happened this round? It was very cagey, very close round. Basically, we got 2 10-10. Like Louis told me, he misjudged slightly this game. He thought it was green, but it's more yellow type of matchup. And his opponent closed the game very well by using the map properly, and it made hard for Louis to be more aggressive. So they both got a 10, the draft all, they decided just not to engage and be out of shooting range and hide, so no way to do something else, so we got these 2 10s. And then the game, I think, against the Ogre Khan was quite... was always going to be between 7-13, decided by who can start, who does more range damage from the early stages. So I think that's a bit what happened, but I'm looking forward to see Jan battle report on his channel to see exactly what happened in detail. I apologize if my memory of the game is wrong, and then my game. So ended up being very close, but again, we didn't lose a single game, and I think that was key. We got 45 victory, which is not much, but it's already enough. I mean, a cap 48-45. It's already enough to still be first on the table, so we knew that then last round we just needed to draw with the guys, and this would be enough to win the tournament. So I think again the discipline here was key, and I'm happy that we didn't went for high variance approach, for example with our VC and DE list, try to go very aggro where it can at any time backfire and the score can be can go either way. So I think we were quite happy with that, how it turned. it turned out after the round. So thanks a lot again to QTL for the friendly games. Always interesting to play them. And that's all for this round. So talk to you soon for the fourth and last battle report. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. Bye.